Hi, I'm Al Noe with Summit Racing Equipment. This is my 67 Camaro known as Old Red. I've owned Old Red for over 23 years now. When I first bought Old Red, the reason I purchased the car was because I had a 71 Corvette, and my wife and I were blessed to have our first child on the way, and I thought I gotta buy a car with a back seat. And I found this car on the set of Hot Rod TV. I incessantly pestered the producer of the show to sell me the car, and I was gonna make it mine and rebuild it. And after about 30 days, he said, "Leave me alone and I'll sell you the car." So I pestered him enough, and he graciously offered to sell me the car, so I bought it. It originally was a vinyl top car, and as we stripped the paint on it, I found a number of holes around the front and back window that you could literally take your hand and put them into. So it took a lot of reconstructive surgery. Literally during that time, 23 years ago, I had every nut and bolt off the car. So the rebuilding process started, and then I began to street drive the car. And a good friend of mine who lived a few doors down from me was an autocrosser, and I was always a drag racing guy. And he said, "Did you ever go to an autocross?" And I said, "No, I've never been to one." And he said, "Why don't you go with me? Your car would be great at that." So I went with him to an autocross, and he and I co-drove a 96 Camaro. And then after I drove that car, it made me want to do more of that with this car. So I proceeded to do a bunch of upgrades over the years, and even before I worked at Summit, I bought a lot of parts from Summit, because they typically had everything that I needed, and it helped me upgrade the car. Autocross is good because it points out some of the things in the car that you got to make better. So every year for the last 23 years, I pick a project and I try to do something to just make the car a little bit better. I start driving it to work, as I usually do. Nice days at Summit, it's almost always outside if the weather's good. So I'm driving home. I left work a little bit different time than I normally do, and I took a way home from work that I don't normally do. I'm sitting at a red light, and a teenager rear-ended me. And I get out of the car, and literally the whole quarter panel's accordioned. I begin to look around the car. The rear wheel well is shredded. The quarter on that side's buckled. I mean, everything from the doors back is just destroyed. So on the one hand, it was really terrible that happened, and it was a little depressing at first. But then on the other hand, I thought, okay, what are you gonna do to make it better? So I began thinking about it. I began researching all the parts I needed. It went off to very, very good, capable hands of Chris Smith at Smitty's Custom Auto in Tiffin, Ohio. We had all the parts in stock at Summit, so I was really happy to take all the parts out to him when I delivered the car to him. Chris did a phenomenal job on the repair work. I do not own a trailer, so I really have always had the intent of not having to trailer this car anywhere, because I never wanted it to be the car that was so much work to do things with that I couldn't just get in and drive it whenever I wanted. So I love driving it everywhere. I love doing the autocrosses, some open track stuff, drag strip runs. That's always been fun. The car did accomplish the goals I've always had. I always wanted a car that would go 11s on a true 200 tread wear tire. When I go to the drag strip, I don't want to change tires. I want to drive there. I want to run it down the drag strip exactly the same way that I autocross it and open track it, maybe adjust the shocks, but that's about it. And depending on the track, depending on the weather, the car will go from 1170s to 1190s. And I can turn the air on, drive it home, listen to the stereo. And it's just a great car for driving and enjoying, so I really like doing that. So the engine in Old Red is an LS3 base 427. It's originally came as a crate engine from Blueprint Engines. I put Trickflow LS3 heads and matching camshaft in it. And then over the years, from all the track days and the abuse that I've given this thing, it needed to be gone through. So I pulled the engine out and re-ringed it, re-bearinged it. It's very, very drivable. It makes about 530 rear wheel horsepower. It actually makes just a little bit more torque than that, like 1 or 2 more foot-pounds of torque. And it's just an excellent pump gas combination. So I really like the engine. The management in it, the engine management is controlled by a GM factory computer. So it's what they call their crate engine kit. So it's drive-by-wire throttle, all factory electronics. Nice thing is I could drive this car across country, and if a mass airflow sensor or anything goes out, either a Chevy dealership or a parts store will have the part I need. just in case Summit Racing isn't near where I'm at. So it's really a great, drivable, nice combination. My job responsibilities at Summit Racing are to oversee all the marketing functions. I work with a great team of people. I'm really fortunate to work with a ton of great people that all share the same passion and enthusiasm for a hobby that I do. This car really ties into my job at work because this entire car really was built from the Summit catalog. If I needed a part for it and we didn't carry that vendor, I would ask our new brands team to take a look and see what they could do, because it can't be just me that needs those parts. I think our customers probably need similar things. And you know, over the years, all the parts for this, like I said, just came from the Summit catalog. Ride Tech, Detroit Speed, Vintage Air, Dakota Digital, Forge Line wheels, BF Goodrich tires, Summit private label. I get firsthand experience in installing the parts because I do all the work on the car myself. The only thing I didn't do on it was spray the paint. And then I've got some friends that are really good welding folks and wiring guys that help me out too. The great thing that I love about going to work every day at Summit is whether you know the answer or not, there's about a 99% chance that you're going to find somebody within Summit that can help you solve your problem and come up with an answer. And that doesn't just hold true for me as an employee, that holds true for our customers too. So over the years, I've been really lucky that the car's been in a few magazines. And then I've also competed with the car in a couple different magazine events. So Popular Hot Rodding had a competition, Street Machine of the Year. I did that, the car did really well. The car's always been a pretty good drag strip performing car, and it was second in drag strip that year. I think that year I was 4th overall. And then also in the other competition, the car did pretty well too. The one neat thing about both of those shootouts is I was the only contestant to drive the car to and from the event. One of the things about this car I like better than anything is just all the great memories that have happened in it over the years. Also the people I've met, as well as giving me the ability to do my job better from having a lot of insight into things that I may not necessarily have been able to get.